All right. Yeah, like Camille said at the beginning of the show, we are T minus 1 week, 7 days away from the start of NBA season. So we figured we could hijack this episode to make it our annual NBA preview. If you've been around for previous NBA preview episodes, you'll know that we typically look at some of the results from the NBA GM survey that comes out every preseason. Kind of give our answers, our takes on what the GM select, and then we make our predictions. So that's standings, all-star predictions, playoff predictions, and then finals, and then like end of year awards. So I guess we can start with some of the GM survey stuff. They went through and asked who's the best player at each position. So we'll run down that in order. So we'll start with point guards. Tim, who you got? Best point guard in the league.
I don't know if Tim here.
All right, brother, go. Okay, Camille, who you got?
I got Steph. That's still Steph to me.
Yeah, I also had Steph, and as did Ken, and the GMs also said Steph. To the tune of, I'm not gonna keep doing this, but best point guard, Steph was 63%. Luka, Shea, and Dame rounded out the top four. He also didn't put his answers in the document, so I don't know what Tim would say, but I'm gonna assume it's Steph. Best two guard, Miss Camille.
I know last year we were talking about this, and I mentioned the fact that I had Book.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just not as much competition at that 2 guard spot. I felt like,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna still ride with Devin Booker being the best 2 guard in the NBA. Although there's some other guys coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Ken also said Booker. I just wanted to be different, so I said Shea, which he's making me look good right now because he is cooking the Bucks. It's only been like 3 minutes. But yeah, Book, Shea, Anthony Edwards, if you want to classify him as a two, I do. But
I do too.
yeah, those would be the three to me that have kind of said. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, if you want to throw him in there, whichever one of the Jays in Boston you want to call the two. Hell, if you well, I'm not gonna say Drew Holiday's up there, but like there's more competition. I feel like at the two now than there has been in some years. Again, Booker won via the general managers. He also got 63% of votes, so that's the same as Steph. Well, the same that Steph got for best point guard. Rounding out the other people that got votes was Steph, Luka, and Shea. So it's like Luka is the definition of positionalist, like
Right.
positionless. So I didn't really know where to put him, so I just stuck him at small forward. But he got votes for best point guard, best shooting guard, and best small forward.
I will say real quick too to everybody who's in the comments, let us know who you think heading into the season are the best players at each position: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center.
For sure. Yeah, so I had Luka at best small forward. Who you got, Camille?
Jason Tatum. That young bull in Boston. I've tried because of my Boston hate to not like him. But I love the way that kid plays, like two-way, silky smooth offensive game. I like him off the court. I just like Jason Tatum.
No, my Boston hate is just too strong. So you got well, actually, Tim, backing up, who you got for best point guard and shooting guard?
One is Steph. Two would be. I feel like two. I'm with you on Shea. Like, but I've been champion Shea for a little bit now, but like, no, I feel like he's still continuously growing, and but the man's bag of tricks is bigger than Felix's at this point, though. Like, it's crazy. But I fuck with Shea at 2. 3, I thought Durant was a 3.
Yeah, but if you want,
We played 3-4, right?
If you want to say Durant's the best 3,
Yo,
go ahead.
definition, brother.
And while you thinking, what up to Dwayne and Dooch in the comments? We see y'all.
Well, Ken has LeBron, so if you want to call KD a 3, he's more of a 3 than LeBron is at this stage.
That's a fact. LeBron's definitely more of a 4 now.
Yeah. No, I think I still roll with, like you said, I like Tatum too, but he's too inconsistent for me. I like KD's consistency. Hell yeah. Like Tatum will have those stretches where that's part of the reason why Boston hasn't won too. Tatum will show up when you need him to and put up the 60-pointer or the 50-pointer or the 45-pointer or whatever like that. But then Tatum will diss up here too. And you'd be like, Brown typically sits especially in the postseason, has been more consistent than Tatum. He can't handle the ball for shit. But he has been more consistent than Tatum when it has come to the games and stuff like that. Tatum will give you those. He will pop for those games. That's why people are like, I'm waiting on that Tatum game. I'm waiting on that Tatum game because he's going to show up. He's going to do it. But it's not a Tatum game every game. He'll have those stretches in those runs where KD is like, damn, it's damn near automatic. KD still to this day.
I mean,
so
when he Boston in the playoffs, they sure did shut him up.
Yeah. But at this point, I'll still take KD's consistency. But it's like Tatum's right there, though. Like Tatum is a monster. But I ain't gonna. The hate ain't that strong. I ain't got Eric's hate.
Like I said, Ken had LeBron. So the GMs had Tatum at 47%. But they also listed Durant, Luka, LeBron, and Kawhi. I don't know how Kawhi is still getting votes for best small forward in the league in 2023. Like,
because when he plays, he is.
He don't play. That's the problem. I think it's a clean sweep with power forwards. So, does anybody not have Giannis?
I wouldn't dare.
Take that as a no. The GMs pretty much agree. Like he got 97% of the vote as power forward.
I mean, he should have been unanimous.
97?
Yeah,
97%. The only other person that got a vote was Kevin Durant.
It's too low. They know they were out here tripping. Somebody hating on him like you hate on Tatum.
Center was almost equally one-sided, which actually surprised me. Who'd you guys have for best center?
Joker.
Jokic.
As did I and Ken, I believe.
Yep, Ken had Joker.
But Jokic got 93% of the vote at center, which, given that Embiid just won MVP last year, was somewhat surprising that it was that overwhelming. Like, I know.
Not to me.
Jokic won the title. So, like, I get where it came from, but I just didn't expect it to be that high.
Shit. They gave Embiid one. Jokic won his. How about that one?
Touche.
Everybody knew what the fuck it was. Yeah, shut up, nigga. Damn. That's all that was.
I'm gonna just
knew that.
This tea.
Okay. Touche. But yeah, we all had Nick joke. So then into some of the questions that were asked of the GM about the offseason. They were asked which team made the best moves this offseason. So what do you have, Tim?
Boston. I feel like initially their all-in approach with not even an all-in approach, but their trade that they got rid of Marcus Smart and added Porzingis. I don't know. We were all kind of like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, y'all add another big and you extending him and you already got these huge contracts. Like, what are y'all doing? Interesting, whatever. And now that they got Drew, it's like, y'all actually did a pretty good job replacing Smart with Drew. You still have Derek White as a pretty comparable, pretty decent backup. I think they just extended Peyton. Yeah, I understand it's fuck Boston, bro. But
she said Fred said F Boston.
And twice on Thursday.
and you still have Tatum. You still got Brown. Now mixed with Drew. You still got Horford. You add Porzingis. I'm like, okay. They got Pritchard off the bench. They got White off the bench.
I think White gonna start. Triple T, what did it do?
It's possible, but I'm like,
I guess like for me, Boston's offseason was in the aggregate. They got rid of Robert Williams, Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, and Malcolm Brogdon, and brought in Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. So, like, and I think I said this after the trades, like, I think that was a talent upgrade. Like, I think in the aggregate because of the depth that they lost and like the kind of question marks about Porzingis' health almost annually. Like, I think it on balance, like like neutral. Not I don't want to say neutral, but like I don't know if it's necessarily they got better, but like bringing in Drew definitely took it from it's a little shaky to okay, well at least there was like they came out even.
I feel like they flip flopped it more. Like their big man was more defensive oriented, so they brought in a more offensive oriented big man. But Smart, yes, he was defensive oriented, but Drew was a little better bucket and better defensively still. So like they upgraded there as well. That's why I felt like Boston. Okay, y'all had a good team. Y'all made a good team even better pending health. Sure, but we're talking about on paper at the moment.
You see, one of the things with Boston is that one thing that helped them up was their depth. Mm-hmm. So they traded in some of that depth to get stronger, 1 through 6. So it's like, is that trade-off going to be worth it? We're going to see.
Because, yes, they turned – sorry to cut you off, Camille. But, yes, they turned Marcus Smart into Drew Holiday and they turned Robert Williams into Kristaps Porzingis. But they also changed Malcolm Brogdon into Peyton Pritchard. And they changed – like Grant Williams into Luke Cornett. So it's like
they fuck with Pritchard though.
Would you say he's better than Malcolm Brogdon or Marcus Smart?
Of course not.
So, but that's what I'm saying. So like you downgrade in certain places, you upgrade in other places. Like we'll see how it fits. Like depth doesn't matter as much in the playoffs. Like they can go 6 deep. The Aces are proving you can kind of go 6 deep. But then when injuries hit, like
c'est la vie.
Talent drop off is a lot more deep.
Eric, who do you have for best offseason moves?
I was a homer. I said the Bucks. And I say that just because like they brought in the perfect complement to Giannis. Like I don't think, save for maybe Steph, like I don't think you can have a better player to pair with your franchise cornerstone player. Like I think they've talked about it even after the first preseason game together. It's like makes my life so much easier having him out here. And they both said the same thing. They're like, it's just like it's completely different looks. Like again, like we know what the defense can, like a problem that it can present. But at the same time, I think that one, if it gets Giannis to, I think he's always going to resign. But if it gives you a 10% chance higher that he's going to resign next year, like then that it's worth it on its own. But also, I think that it took them from running back with the new coach and let's see what happens to solidly, hey, this is the finals contender, finals favorite. So that's where I'm at. Who you got?
I was trying to debate between the Lakers, the Suns, and ironically enough, the Blazers. Because I know the Blazers sounds like a weird one, but we know where they are right now with their franchise and what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I think they got a great return for Dame, like some of the moves they did. But I'm going to give my vote actually to Phoenix.
That's a great vote.
It's hard to fill out a roster around 3 max players. Like that's very difficult to do. And they lost a lot of guys they had surrounding those guys last year. Mm-hmm. No more Ayton, no more Baisley. Bismack Biyombo's gone. Torrey Craig out. Like Chris Paul's gone. Campaign's gone. Terrence Ross is gone. TJ Warren's gone. So you're like, dang. But they got Grayson Allen. They got Beal, of course. They got Bobo. They got like Eric Gordon. They got Nasir Little. They got Yusuf Nurkic, which we talked about a little bit before, but people are looking at talent for talent with the Ayton and Nurkic trade, but like it's a chemistry thing too, because Ayton wasn't happy in Phoenix. They were holding that man hostage dang near. He tried to leave. They said, no, we're going to match this contract.
Shit, these middies all season and fuck what y'all talking about.
Right. And you couldn't guarantee what kind of effort you were going to get from him night in and night out. And this is the team that's going to try to get a championship. And Nurkic is the kind of center who's like, I can do my role. Like, y'all be the stars. I can do my role. And I just love that pickup for them. And the way they're able to fill out that roster around their big 3 with KD, Book, and Beal, I think they did a good job.
Mm-hmm. And that's the benefit of getting your work done early. Like, they made that move at the beginning of the summer, then they could build their entire team knowing, like, okay, that's our foundation. Like, now the Bucks are not stuck, but like they're stuck with the team that they had already built around Giannis, Drew, and Chris. And like now you have to try to retrofit it to work with Dame Lillard. So I get where you're coming from. And like to the point about Aiden versus Nurkic, it's like, yes, in a vacuum, probably Aiden he's younger, he's probably more talented, more athletic, blah blah blah. But like the things that Phoenix needs from a center, like Nurkic does all those things better and more willingly than Aiden would have. Like there's the clip going around of Nurkic on the pick and roll, like making a sweet pass, like faking somebody out, making a pass to the corner for an open three. And it's like DeAndre Ayton isn't doing that. He's not gonna be happy setting that screen. He's like, yo, give me the ball, let me shoot like a 20-foot jump.
What y'all doing?
Right. And also he doesn't have that pass in his bag. It's like you need somebody I always used to talk about it with Ersan Ilyasova. It's like sometimes you just need that player that's kind of going to be able to fit in between like your stars and kind of keep stuff moving. Mm-hmm. And you don't need somebody that's just going to stop, hold the ball, be like, hey, should I shoot here? Should I pass here? Should I do this, do that? Like, no, just like run the offense. And sometimes you just need kind of that competency in that spot.
And that's why I love it so much.
Who did Ken have?
He said either Boston or the Lakers. The Lakers was another team I was looking at. I also think the Lakers had a really good offseason, being able to, re-sign some of the guys they brought in last year and continue to build from what they built at the deadline while adding in a couple little different flavors to the mix.
To the year.
And you said about Portland, I think their biggest thing was they got Scoot in the draft. Like that's the number one. That's the number one thing that they did this offseason. So thank you, Charlotte, for that. What was the next question? What was the most underrated player transaction of the offseason? Timothy.
I know they make a big deal out of it. They did, but they didn't. But I feel like Chris Paul joining the Golden State Warriors would be underrated because of the fact that they were like, okay, how the hell does Chris Paul fit in with the Warriors for one? But truthfully, giving Steph more time, a little bit more time off the ball, as opposed to having to have someone create for him and everyone else around him, does that make him more or less dangerous? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, and they've been talking all the offseason, like, okay, yeah, he might come off the bench, or now all of a sudden he might be a starter. And it's like, okay, they're trying to figure it out, sure. But I don't think adding Chris Paul will ever be a negative still at this point in his career, but it could be a positive rather than only being your starting unit or your bench. He brings a level of veteran and a level of leadership to the teams that he's going to be with. But you can see it when he was over in OKC. You've seen it when he was over here in Phoenix. Like, he still has something. There's still part of his game that allows him to still fit in almost any team that he goes with. It's just nobody expected Golden State because they already got Steph. It's just like, what the fuck? And they got Clay. So it's like, that's weird. Like, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna move them down one each? But I mean, honestly, I think it might work.
You said Fred said that CP3 is a jinx.
We'll see. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, if he's not there starting, he's going to be a great backup point guard for him.
I mean, I can see that. I don't know. I think he's starting for sure now just because Draymond got hurt. But we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be a weird fit. Just seeing him in the yellow and blue has been jarring in the preview.
Look weird.
Yeah.
Not gonna hold you.
But I believe he's a professional that can make it work, bro. Like, truly.
So we already talked about the Suns because I had Nurk/Bill. The Bill part of that just being he's the most overqualified third option in the league. Like, we've talked about it with the Bucks and like Chris Middleton. Like, this makes his life so much easier. Like, now he's getting like the third best defender on each team. But like, Bradley Beal has averaged 30 points multiple times in his career, and now, he's
number three.
He's number three on that team. But my answer is Marcus Smart. Like, that is the perfect fit of town and player and culture that they strive to have. Like, I think when they made the trade, I was like, this is kind of like combining Tyus Jones and Dylan Brooks into one player. And especially with Ja being out the first 25 games, like, it gives them a competent point guard to kind of right the ship. going forward. And I just think for their culture specifically, like I know Derrick Rose in his media day interview was like, I'm not here to babysit Ja, which they're not. But I think that having real vets in that locker room is only going to help that team, especially dudes like Marcus Smart. So I think that will be a really good positive for that organization long term.
And to your point about us already talking about Phoenix, I also thought Nurk to Phoenix was a great underrated player transaction this offseason. So I'm going to say Jordan Poole to Washington. Now, I know they got a lot of guards over there in Washington, but we know Poole going to be getting his playing time. He might even be the shooting guard with Tyus being over there as well now. So, like, listen, I just want to see Jordan Poole with a green light, and he's going to have a big green light in Washington. And I think it's just going to be a fun team to watch, just bucket-wise. I'm not sure how they're going to stop anybody in Washington, but the buckets will be had, and I think it's actually going to be really good for him to kind of be out of that, Golden State situation after everything that went down with Draymond and him getting a chance to just really run it up with Kuz. I think it's going to be fun. So I'm going to give mine to Jordan Poole in Washington. Like, I don't know what they're building exactly, but we're going to be able to see this season which pieces here are going to be those cornerstones for him to continue to build upon.
And their rookies look really good. Bilal Koulibaly, like very raw. Victor Wembanyama's teammate in France.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's looked good so far. This is a very wild comparison, but stick with me. So, like, I don't know if y'all saw the clip of Stephen A. Smith sending shots at Jason Whitlock.
No.
Basically, he's like, I hate that dude. He's a scum of the earth.
He is.
He ain't wrong. But, like, I sent that to my brother. I'm like, these two were only ever going to be, like, the best of friends or vicious enemies. Like, there was no in between. And, like, I feel like that's Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. Like, either they're going to be, like, tight or they're going to be fighting at midcourt over the ball by, like, the third week of the season.
She said Fred added he going to be what Brooks thought he was. Probably.
Artifacts. Which team would be the most fun to watch? Camille, I'll start with you.
Them boys playing the Bucks tonight, them Thunder. Give me a little chat with SGA, Giddey, Lou Dort, the Jalen's. Like, I'm definitely tuning into Thunder games this year.
Yeah, there are 3 games I have circled on my calendar for Bucks tickets this year. One is the Thunder. One is Drew's return game to when they play Boston. And then the third is San Antonio. So that's my pick, San Antonio. I just want to see Wemby play basketball as much as possible.
I actually have tickets to that game.
Nice.
Spurs and the Heat game.
Nice. Yeah, no, give me all the Wemby. Like, I don't care who else is on that roster. Like, I just want to watch that dude who is so weird and cold. Like, I don't even – like, he's doing stuff that – it's like watching rookie year Giannis where it's like he got much better coordination and much more skill than rookie Giannis did. But it's just like you can kind of see, like, the outlines of when this dude puts on, like, weight and gets, like, his full grown man athleticism and all that stuff. It's going to be nasty. So just protect dude at all costs, but it's fun to watch so far.
Pause, she's here.
He is so long. He also paused himself there. There you go. I see Ken had the Suns for his team. That'd be the most fun to watch.
Yeah, I would say my pick would be Phoenix too. Like, it's not the Nets, but I feel like it's the more professional Nets. But you have 3 guys now on a team who 2 of which, well, damn near all 3 of them have been in situations where they've had to be the guy by themselves. Yeah, Book, Beal, and Durant. Yeah, so, well, no, not Durant. Durant ain't never had to be the guy by himself. He always has to help. But still, that's not, you get what I'm saying.
He was the guy, he wasn't by himself.
Right, he had to get it out the mud, in essence. And now you finally go, okay, I tried it with my guys who I felt like are top 75 guys. They should be straight. Nah, didn't work out. But I have these 2 other guys here who are at this point in their career just as talented and probably can go ahead and we can figure this out. What we couldn't figure out in Brooklyn. And so plus he will probably be more inclined to try to make it work even more. So I feel like that Phoenix team, while they're trying to gel and figure themselves out, because they have a head start on most of the other new squads since they started at the end of the season. So they'll have the little step up. They've had the summer to kind of have their dinners, get their shit together. And now the preseason, and once the regular season rolls around, I feel like they'll be a little bit more well-oiled machine, and they'll probably be hella fun to watch. Like you said, Bill's now the number 3 option, and Bill is the number 1 option on most squads.
I wouldn't say most at this point, but a lot.
I give him 2 then. Worst 2.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like, what shit? Last year, what did he do? Like 28? Probably somewhere around. Well, shit. No, probably like 25, because I know it was kind of rough last year. Anyways, regardless, you have added another quarter-century player, a quarter mark, to your per-sport game tally with that player as your 3rd option. So I feel like it is going to be fun watching them, seeing how Book get his, because they both was facilitators at one point or another. Durant, he can move the ball if he needs to, but again, sharpshooter, sniper, he knocking that motherfucker down. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited. Phoenix is one of those teams that I'm excited to really watch this year.
Agreed.
Just to clear it up, Bradley Beal averaged 23 last year.
Yeah, it was a rough year for him last year.
So then we can go into the standings predictions portion of the program. As a reminder, we'll do the top 10 in each conference. So that's the 6 playoff teams and the 4 play-in teams.
Oh shit!
Camille, I will start with you because I know Tim didn't do his homework.
I think it's
I'm gonna give him some time to type it in. Camille, what you got?
All right, in the East. I'm going to go Boston with the 1 seed, Milwaukee with the 2 seed, Cleveland with the 3 seed, the New York Knicks 4 seed. Now, here's where I start to get a little, I'm going to put Philly at 5 right now. Still don't know what's going to happen with James Harden. Right now, he's saying he's going to play, but he expects to be traded still. I don't know how that's going to work out. So Philly can drastically.
He's a liar, and I will never be part of the organization that he's whatever the hell he said.
So I don't know how that's going to go. So right now, I just put Philly into that 5 spot on this date. I got Miami at 6, Brooklyn at 7, Atlanta at 8, Orlando at 9, and Indiana at 10.
Since you brought up Harden, checking in, because we did this periodically over the summer, do you think that he gets traded in the near future?
No. I actually think Daryl Morey's going to just dig his heels in and say play.
Get you, buddy. No, I agree with you.
Not no time soon that's going to happen.
I'm trying to, again, read the tea leaves, like, with the different reports. Like, every report that comes out, like, that's coming from somewhere, somebody wants that information out. So, like, there are conflicting reports where it's like, well, the Clippers are shopping their pick to get more picks to satisfy what Philly wants. So, like, on some levels, it's like, okay, well, stuff is working. And other places are like, there's no traction on the deal. So, I don't know what to really get away from that situation. But I wouldn't be surprised if it just comes to we're not going to get a better deal at any point, so might as well just take what the Clippers are offering at this point. And we know what half engaged James Harden looks like, and I don't think that does anybody any favors at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's within the next month, but also knowing that December 15th, so many players, like half the league becomes trade eligible again. So like maybe that is when stuff starts getting, stuff starts moving towards a resolution. But with that being said, my teams in the East are Milwaukee 1, Boston 2. I also have Cleveland 3, Miami 4. It's just Miami is always weird for me because like I don't know what level of engagement we'll get from regular season Jimmy Butler.
Right.
And I feel like now he has kind of like a motivation to kind of prove people wrong. And prove like, oh, we didn't need Dame, we didn't need this, we didn't need that. So like maybe he does actually try in the first half of the season. Like when it comes to like picking all-stars, that's why I'm also like, well shit, if Jimmy like half-asses it for the whole first half of the season, like he won't be an all-star. But yeah, I stuck him at 4. I just feel like he'll come in motivated. 5, I got the Knicks. 6, Orlando. I'm really high on Orlando. I was really high on Detroit last year, and that blew up in my face. But Orlando was my team this year. 7, I got Philly. Just because if they take the Harden deal, I feel like they'll be worse on the court. And if they don't take the Harden deal, then he'll be worse on the court. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's kind of like they're screwed either way. 8 Atlanta, 9 Indiana, 10 Brooklyn. Tim, did you have time to finish your list?
I did.
Real quick, why Brooklyn so far down in the standings to you? You just don't think they have like the
I don't
guy?
think they had a top end talent. Like they were terrible last year after the trade. Like the only reason they made the playoffs is because KD and Kyrie got them such a head start. Like they were significantly below 500 team last year. And while I think individually they have really high level role players, like I don't think they have like the top end talent night in, night out to really compete with the teams in the East.
That's fair. I was like, I think they're going to be in that play-in contending role. I don't know. I think Ben Simmons is going to have a pretty good year, which is weird to say after all these years. But I didn't have Brooklyn that much higher than you, but it was just interesting to see him at 10. Tim, what's your Eastern standing predictions for the season?
Got the Bucks at 1, Boston at 2, Cleveland at 3, the Knicks at 4, Nets at 5, Philly at 6, Miami at 7, Indiana at 8, Detroit at 9, and Orlando at 10.
Run that back for me one more time.
Okay, I got number 1 is Milwaukee, 2 Boston, 3 Cleveland, 4 the Knicks, 5 is the...
That's what you said, Philly.
Philly, yeah. 5 is Philly. 6 is the Heat. 7 is Indiana. 8 Detroit. 9. I'm missing somebody.
Oh, you missed somebody.
Milwaukee.
You got Brooklyn at 5. Sorry, that's what it was. Brooklyn was 5, then Philly.
I thought so. I thought that Brooklyn was 5. I got them at. Okay. Milwaukee, Boston, Cleveland, New York, Brooklyn, Philly, Miami, Indiana, Detroit, Orlando.
So it looks like Atlanta is a team that you don't have in there.
Correct.
I mean, I don't hate it. Like, I'm not really high on Atlanta. Just
they barely made it last year with John Collins.
What about Detroit is giving you belief that they're a play-in team this year?
Last year they missed out on Cade Cunningham. Like he missed majority of the season last year. They gave Jaden Ivey a chance to kind of get his feet wet and things of that nature. Picking up Marvin Bagley, he started playing well with Detroit. Picking up James Wiseman, he started playing well with Detroit. So now you have them. Wiseman ain't there no more?
He is. I don't know if he was playing well.
They both were playing better, and their front court actually didn't want looking bad towards the end of the year with them too. They still got Bogey. On top of having Cade Cunningham come back, and then they picked up a Sort Thompson. I think they have a squad that has enough pop in order for them to be at the bottom half of the Eastern Conference for a playoff hunt. As long as nobody has to go out for an entire year again or anything of that nature, I feel like they have enough younger talent that's hungry enough to try to at least scrap and claw for the bottom. Like they'll be down there fighting with Orlando or something. Like I feel like they could be, because I feel like Orlando is one of those. Okay, we'll try to include them in the bottom half because of the fact that they're still a younger team kind of finding their identity around Paolo. Paolo's probably going to have a good year, I feel like, if he just continues with the way he's been playing. He had a good year last year, looked good over the summer. He looks like he's going to be a sure thing. They continue to build that team around them, which they didn't have a terrible team last year. They just weren't good, so to speak, as a whole. So this year, I feel like with Franz coming in, he got a couple more seasons under his belt now. You got Paolo over there now with a whole season under his belt now. They're probably going to get rid of one of them million point guards, but they finally found some, like, they're both teams that are coming up and figuring it out. And so I feel like they're at the point now where, okay, we can fight for a bottom tier of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference.
I'm with Triple T in the comments. Detroit is not better than Orlando.
Yeah, I think for me, Orlando is like...
They were. I said they were about the same.
You had Detroit at 9 and Orlando at 10.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, but again, they're about the same. So for me, it's splitting hairs.
Well, like, okay, I was gonna say, like, for me, Orlando is kind of like the inverse of Brooklyn, where they got themselves in such a hole. But like after So like the first couple months of the season, they lost pretty much all their guards. Once their guards started coming back, they were actually above 500 team for a large majority of last season. So I think that, obviously progression isn't linear. So like there could be a bit of a regression with certain players, but I think that their foundation is really strong. And that's why I see like them taking kind of a leap. I can see Detroit having a similar season to Orlando last year where it's kind of shaky. They got a new coach, but they got Monty in there. They're still trying to figure out their young pieces, but then like once they start kind of getting into a groove, like I can see them being like we're not really challenging yet for the play-in, but like we're on the right track going up. Like that's the way I look at those teams. Like I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying like that's where I disagree with like they're neck and neck. I think that Orlando is a step above because like they already went through the things that I think Detroit goes through this year. If that makes sense.
Real quick, I just want to say Robin Lopez is not it.
We knew that when he signed, didn't
we? He is making my head hurt.
I saw somebody say that the Brook tax is worse than the Giannis, or the Robin tax is worse than the Thanasis tax, and I'm not sure I disagree with that.
I would rather see Thanasis out there than Robin Lopez at this point. Cannon had his Eastern predictions. He had Boston, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Philly, New York, Miami, Brooklyn, Orlando, Atlanta, and Indiana.
Yep, I'm cool with all that. It seems like we all have pretty much the same tiers,
teams for the most part.
Milwaukee, Boston, then Cleveland, and then it's like Knicks, Heat, Philly, kind of in that mix, and then everybody else.
Yeah.
West. I'll start with Ken's. He had Phoenix 1, Denver 2, Lakers 3, Kings 4, Mavs 5, Memphis 6, Golden State 7, Clippers 8, OKC 9, Minneapolis, Minnesota 10. Before I read off my list, the West had me in the head. Like, there are so many good teams.
So many teams.
And I shouldn't even say so many good teams. There are so few bad teams in the West. Like, I think Portland will be bad. I think the Spurs will still be bad. But I think everybody else at least can fight.
I think the Jazz might take a step back.
What'd you say?
The Jazz might take a step back this season from where they were last year. And I mean, like, they were scrappy. Like, they weren't. So
I think they're actually better than they were last year, which like their record might be worse. But I think that they have, if you look at who they brought in versus who they got rid of, like I think they honestly got better on balance. And last year was kind of like a house money year. So
that's fair.
I can see them at least. Like, I think they'll pack it in because they don't want to be good necessarily, but I can see them, like, we look up in mid-January and they're like a play-in team at that point. Wouldn't surprise me. Do you want to do yours first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go.
Okay. So I got Phoenix 1. I think this is different from what I had a couple weeks ago when we ranked like our top 4 teams in each conference.
That was a different question.
It was.
To be fair.
But I mean, I looked at it the same way basically. And Phoenix, for me, like once I saw them on the court in the preseason and seeing how the different pieces fit together, like I don't think I had an appreciation. Like I think I was still looking at last year's team and like, I mean, like they'll be good. Like they have a really good team, but like the rest of the they have a really good trio, and then the rest of the roster is kind of poo. But the more I look at it, like the pieces, they were very intentional about the team that they built, and I think that they're actually going to be really tough to guard. And much like the Bucks, I feel like they're betting on just being able to outscore a lot of teams, a lot of nights, which can, become a fool's errand in the playoffs. But that team is just going to bleed points like the entire season, like in the good way. So I got Phoenix 1, Denver 2, Lakers 3, Clippers 4, Golden State 5, Memphis 6, Minnesota 7, OKC 8, Sac 9, Pelicans 10. I do not have Dallas.
See, Dallas, I have some faith, and this is probably me being a Marquette homer with them getting Omax over there and them saying like we're gonna play this rook, but like Omax can really play some defense. And I like that they brought in Grant Williams. I feel like they're trying to balance that roster a little bit more to go with the offensive heavy duo of Luka and Kyrie. But then it comes like, what's your faith in Jason Kidd to actually get this to coalesce properly?
Also, what's your faith in Kyrie not going crazy for a month?
I don't think he will this year. I think he's gonna be cooling in Texas this year.
Okay.
I know. I understand. That pause of silence was necessary. I get it. My Western Conference, I'm gonna go Denver at 1, LA Lakers at 2, Phoenix Suns at 3, Sacramento Kings at 4. Sacramento's interesting. I know they're bringing over the MVP from like the Euro League over to their roster. I don't know too much about his game, but that seems like it could be if it works out, like an addition of a really top end talent. 5, I'm going Memphis, 6, Dallas, 7, Golden State, 8, Oklahoma City, 9, the Clippers, and 10, the Pelicans. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm actually going to flip that. I'm taking the Pelicans out. I'm going to put Minnesota in.
Okay.
Slice it.
Like, I believe. Like, I don't think anybody can believe more in Anthony Edwards than I believe in Anthony Edwards. So, like, that's not the issue. And, like, last year, I kind of thought that they would be one of those teams where it's like they were great in the regular season and kind of flame out in the playoffs. And that didn't work. But part of that was because, like, they couldn't be healthy at the same time. Like, Cat missed so much of the season. They never really got into a groove with the double big look. I think part of my optimism for Minnesota is – well, I shouldn't go. A lot of my optimism for Minnesota is Anthony Edwards by itself, but I do think that year 2 of this kind of weird front court combination will be more fruitful than it was in year 1.
Okay. I still have questions. That's why I was like, I'm not sure about Minnesota. I love Ant though, but that big thing is weird.
And I mean, bringing in Mike Conley at midseason, like that helped a lot.
That's true. Tim.
Yes.
What's your Western Conference standings?
One, I'm shocked that you said LA at 2.
I really believe in the Lakers this year. Like I really like this team, and honestly, I don't want to jump the gun here, but I'm thinking Anthony Davis is going to have a big year. It's all health pending. But I like this Lakers team a lot. I like how Darvin Ham is coaching them. I like the scheme. I like the players. I like the fit.
Fair enough. I got Denver at 1, Phoenix at 2, Sacramento at 3, Golden State at 4, Dallas at 5, the Lakers at 6, Utah at 7, the Clippers at 8, Memphis at 9, and the Pelicans at 10. I'm with y'all. I feel like it's stacked. I feel like Ja missing the chunk of the beginning of the games is going to pay a difference in where Memphis lies in the West, because the West would be so tight.
You don't think Marcus Smart can be able to make that up a little bit for him?
Ja also brings offense. Like, I know they got Bang. Yeah, I know Bang be cooking. I know Triple J offensively is not as consistent as he is defensively.
That's fair.
Ja made up the rest of it. I'm not expecting Smart to maintain that for a bit, no. But like you said, I don't expect there to be a major follow. I just think that early games is going to be a difference maker in their season later on in the season. 25
games is a lot of games.
It's a lot of games. So now that's why I got Memphis down there closer to the bottom. I feel like they'll survive long enough for Ja to come around and kind of steer them and be a dangerous play-in team or something to that nature.
You got Utah over the Thunder?
Yeah, I'm of the mindset that they'll jump forward as opposed to taking a step back. And I felt like they had a pretty decent year last year. They had the players that they was all kind of surprised that the kind of team that they was running last year. And I feel like with another year under their belt and the addition of John Collins, they could be nice looking. I feel like they might continue to take that step. John gives them adds a little bit defense, even though I don't know, man. I thought John Collins was supposed to be like this great defensive guy. He's
He's not though.
Hey, like he's cool for his athleticism and the way he's supposed to be able to protect him. Like he's cool, but he also brings some offense to them too. And maybe who knows, a different environment may spark the rest of that defensive potential that we thought he should have had. But no, they have a good team across the board because they don't have a superstar outside of marketing, so they should be good.
Sorry, the 3-pointer that the Nassers just hit just blew. I didn't know why he was taking it, and then he cashed it.
You know that meme where they be like, "I'm pussy." That's how he plays. He plays like that at all times.
Yeah. So those are our predictions as far as standings, and then we'll go to All-Star teams. So we'll name off our 5 starters and then our 7 bench players. So as a reminder, it's 2 guards, 3 front court in the starters, 2 guards, 3 front court, 2 wild cards as the bench players. We started with the East last time, so we'll start with the West this time. If the playoff teams were hard, the freaking All-Stars in the West was just, it had me in a headlock. Like I listed out like all the people I thought like could be All-Stars, and like the list in the West is just like, damn, like how am I supposed to pick? So like the starters actually wasn't that bad. I had Steph, LeBron, Durant, Jokic, Luka. That did mean that Book and Shea, who I think are all-star starter talents, got moved to the bench, but is Luka what you gonna do? So I had those 2 as my guards. AD, Zion, and Victor Wembanyama as my bigs. And then my wild cards are Anthony Edwards and my biggest wild card that I could pull out my ass, Jalen Williams. I'm a big believer in Jalen Williams from the Thunder.
Wing Jalen?
Yes, Wing Jalen. Jalen.
That's quite a,
what'd you say?
That's quite a
it is, but and maybe I should have put OKC up higher a little bit, but I think that if things go right, like with Chet, like they're ready to take off. Like that is a team that I think is primed and ready to really show some stuff this year. Giannis went to dunk for a buzzer beater and didn't get it off in time. But yeah, like I just believe in that dude's talent. It's kind of like Desmond Bane too. Like those are 2 dudes that I was really high on in the draft, and like both of them showed me things as rookies and first year or early career players where I'm like, they're talented, and like I could easily see him making that jump. I don't really believe it, but I wanted to put that out there just because like I think that OKC is on the rise, and like he'll be a big part of why.
I low-key think that with Ja being out, Desmond Bane might actually make an all-star case this year. But my all-star team in the West, like you said, this is a bloodbath. I'm so sorry. This is the prediction. I don't know how it's going to shake out. Injuries and everything happen, which I hope we don't have many of this season. But again, when you look at who you're predicting to make all-star teams, it's just a credit to how deep the NBA is right now with talent. So a lot. This is not them 2000 teams where you're like, oh, well, I guess the Hawks gonna send 4 people because they just the number 1 seed. Like, no, like it's a lot of dudes out here who got some real talent. So my starters, I believe, are the same as yours. Steph and Luka backcourt, KD, LeBron, and Jokic in the front court. My bench, give me SGA and Devin Booker as my first 2 guards. Then give me Jaren Jackson Jr., Zion, and Anthony Davis as my 3 bigs. My 2 wild cards, I'm going to say Jamal Murray makes his first All-Star game. I don't believe he's made it so far. And then Anthony Edwards also gets that All-Star nod again. Sorry, Kyrie. Sorry, De'Aaron Fox. Sorry, Domantas Sabonis. Sorry, Kawhi. Sorry, Paul George. Sorry, Bradley Beal.
Boy.
Cat. Like
Lowry, it's Markkanen. I don't know if you said Kyrie, but Kyrie.
So many. All right, Tim. Who are your West?
I got 13 people on this damn list. I had 14.
You only get 12.
I know. All right, so we got Steph, Doncic, Durant, Davis, Sabonis. are my starters.
Wait, say the front court again.
Durant, Davis, and Sabonis.
No
So no LeBron.
Not starting.
I think. Okay, show list. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm trying to take into account the fan vote too.
That's
what I'm saying. Like, I think LeBron's a lot because of the fan vote.
Yeah,
like, there's no way
LeBron's gonna get more fan votes than LeBron.
That's fair. Not this year. Okay,
like LeBron could not play a game in the first half of the season and still be voted in as a starter.
Like you know that man gonna be a captain.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Go ahead, move LeBron to your starter and put Sabonis.
Sabonis is gonna have to come off the bench.
I feel it.
Problem is, all right. So LeBron is at 5. That sounds so weird to say, but then I have.
Wait, you took Jokic out?
No, it's a fuck. I forgot about goddamn.
You put Davis in. You said AD over Jokic.
I forgot about fucking Jokic. I got 14 names and none of these motherfuckers say Jokic.
Okay, here you fix your list. Fix your list.
LeBron ain't starting on my list, just so y'all know. It's gonna be Jokic.
Well, hold on. Put a pin in. You work on your list. I'll read off Ken's. So he has Curry, Luka, LeBron, KD, Jokic. His bench is Kyrie and De'Aaron Fox. Then he has Booker and Shea.
I don't think his bench is right, fam. He got too many guards.
He got too many guards. He had Anthony Edwards, Bradley Beal, AD, Jaren Jackson, and Sabonis. So he has one too many guards, I think.
That man got like 9 people on the bench.
Wait, 1, 2.
I don't think he finished it. I think he was still trying to work through it.
7. Yeah, he got too many people. Sorry.
With his starters.
Right. His starters a lot, and then some combination of Kyrie, Fox, Booker, Shea, and Bill, AD, Jaren, and Sabonis.
We'll have to have him clarify next week.
Okay. Maybe my list might be valid, but okay. I think I'm ready.
All right, go ahead, brother.
Right,
Start with your starters again.
I got Steph Doncic, Durant, LeBron, Jokic.
Okay. That's the same 4 or 5 we got.
Yep.
Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then I got De'Aaron Fox, SGA, Edwards, Zion, AD, Wemby, and Kawhi.
You said Kawhi?
Yeah, and Kawhi.
So no Booker?
I feel like.
Hey,
like
I'm just asking. I just want to make sure you're not forgetting. If you're choosing not to have him on
Booker, but like you said, it's one of those years where it's gonna be hard to be like, okay, we got multiple guys from one team on several different instances. So you got Book, Bill, Durant over there, but Fox is gonna be the lead. He's gonna be the leading factor. If the Kings end up being good, it's gonna be because of Fox and Sabonis. More than likely, they're gonna go put Fox in over Sabonis. Sabonis probably catch the back end from like a reserve or select or something like that. If the OKC is doing well, it's gonna be SGA leading that shit for the most part. He's gonna be the face of that. So now you have Book, who's over there with Durant and Bill, or you have Fox and you have. That's just my logic, though. That's what I'm thinking. That people be thinking about sometimes, like, oh, well, they ain't really got the same help as Book, so we go put them in as opposed to putting Book in, who got Durant and so next one. But it's Durant. It's still KD though. So we go put KD in. So that's why I'm like, I don't have Book. That's why I don't have Booker.
Hey, I was just making sure you didn't forget him. Like
your logic. I forgot about. You know what? I always forget about Jokic. Every year when we do this, I literally forget about Jokic every single year. That's
like your favorite player.
Correct. So that's on par.
All right, let's move to the East.
Oh fuck, we ain't do the East. Sorry. I'll do Ken's first.
He got his bench.
He got enough people. So we'll do his next week. Camille, I'll let you go first. We'll go in reverse.
All right, my starters. Let me get Dame Dollar. Let me get Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. Joel's gonna start. Finally, you got that this year, I think. My bench. Give me Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Mikal Bridges, Bam Adebayo, and then my wild cards. I'm gonna go Trae Young, I initially had DeMar DeRozan, but now I'm gonna keep it. Give me Paolo. I'm gonna take Paolo over DeMar.
I also just subbed in Paolo as my last forward. So my starters are the same, I think. Dame, Spider, Giannis, and B. Tatum. Bench is Jaylen Brown. And so I just had fun with it. So Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday as my guards. Middleton, Mobley, and Bam as my forwards. And then my wild cards are Jalen Brunson and Paolo.
Okay.
You think the Bucks and the Celtics get 3 apiece?
Yes. Just for the – because, I mean, like, one, they're the best teams, I feel like, kind of head and shoulders above everybody else. So I think that because, like, they'll both be going hard in the regular season, like, it'll be, like, 7 to 10 games separating the second place team and third place team at that point. And that, like I said, I just had fun with it.
Okay. 1, I got Dame. 2, I got Mitchell. 3, I got Tatum. 4, Giannis. 5, Embiid. Bench, though, I got Holiday and Halliburton. I also have Jimmy Butler and Banchero, Darius Garland, and I got Butler on here twice. Evan Mobley. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that was Holiday.
You need one more just wild card. Anybody
and everybody on the East. Oh, I didn't say Brown. Jaylen Brown.
You did not.
Okay. We got a comment in the comments saying go Lions. They're talking about basketball right now, man.
Go Lions. What you talking about, bro? We ain't know what you mean talking about that no more, bro. Y'all doing
all basketball.
Bite some ankles.
Okay, really quick, going through the season-ending award winners. I think Rookie of the Year. Anybody going?
Sweet.
Yeah,
Wemby.
Like, I think Chet might challenge for it, but I got Wemby.
Brandon Miller already lost over there in Charlotte. Ain't nobody said shit about him.
Who? Oh, Brandon Miller.
See?
No, I just didn't hear what you had said. In that context clues was like, oh, Brandon Miller. Also, Scoot. Like, I think Scoot he's already shown some stuff in the preseason, like just being NBA ready standpoint. Clutch Player of the Year. Tim.
Okay.
We're
going with Dame.
3 Dames and the Steph.
Yep. I also had Dame, as did Ken. Camille has Steph. Defensive Player of the Year.
Giannis.
Yeah, give me Giannis.
I think they'll give it to him this year.
Y'all two got Giannis. Ken got AD. I said Drew just because his reputation jumped like 3 different levels. Most improved player. I already tipped my hand. I got Jalen Williams.
I went with Anthony Edwards because that's how this award is now trending. Like, it's kind of like who takes that superstar jump.
I'm going to go with Camille with Edwards.
Okay. Sixth Man of the Year. Ken got Emmanuel quickly. I said Bobby Portis because that's just my answer every year. I'm going to say for last. Tim, who you got?
Chris Paul.
I don't hate that. Camille, who you got?
Drew Holiday.
So
I think Drew comes off the bench in Boston.
If they do, I mean, I know he won't look at it as doing them dirty, but if they do my dude dirty like that, they deserve all the losses.
That's how the tea leaves are starting to read. They've asked him about coming off the bench, and he's like, I don't care, man. I just want to win. And I was like, oh, he might come off the bench.
Like, Drew does like that humble dude stuff, and he is a humble dude, but I do like some of that shit burns him up. Like, and he won't let it show. Like, I've heard interviews with him where he's like, people used to ask him about like different awards, and like the year I think before he came to the Bucks, he didn't get all defensive team. And he's like, yeah, as long as I have the respect of like my peers and stuff like that, he's like, I don't really care. But you could tell he cared, but he don't care.
I feel it.
Like, he takes it as disrespect, but he's like, as long as the people that I care about, whose opinions I care about, respect me, it don't really matter. But I think starting is a point of pride for a lot of these dudes. Coach of the Year, who you got?
Darvin Ham.
Ken said Mike Brown. I say Adrian Griffin because if it's a first year coach and he wins a bunch of games, typically what they do. Tim, who you got?
I'll go with Mr. Malone of Denver. Go ahead and text the West again.
Interesting. All right, big award, MVP.
I think now that they finally gave the participation trophy away, we can go ahead and talk about the real MVPs. And I'll put my vote in for Giannis, but they might give it to Doncic because he's still on that here nigga damn list.
I think Dame and Giannis together make me question if Giannis could get MVP.
I thought about that, but I'm a homer, so I also went with Giannis.
I'm tipping my hat here. Anthony Davis. I think it's his time.
Ooh.
Wait. So Giannis and Dame kind of cancels
because
out, but LeBron and Anthony Davis don't?
No, because LeBron, I feel like is at a different stage in his career. Like LeBron's going to do whatever he do, but if the Lakers are going to be a championship contending team, it rests on the back of Anthony Davis. It goes as far as he can play defense and as far as he can contribute on offense. Like he is their ultimate two-way guy on that team. Like it all is on the back of Anthony Davis, which is somewhat terrifying with his injury history. But like if he can put together a healthy season, and I feel like Anthony Davis also has a chip on his shoulder this year, like with all the different noise, just hearing stuff they talk about in camp, how Ham wants to use him. Like I think we're going to have a big AD year.
Did I see correctly that Darvin Ham walked back the 6 threes game thing?
He should have. I don't know if he did, but that's excessive. He does not even taking those 6 threes a game.
Tim, you said Giannis?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then the final prediction we have is NBA Finals. So for this, tell us the 2 teams you got, who's winning, and how many games.
Ken had Lakers in Boston.
Huh?
I said Ken had Lakers in Boston.
Fuck Boston. I'm assuming he has Lakers sweeping Boston. Like we can just kind of pencil.
He'll probably stay in 5 or 6 or something like that.
I got a repeat of 2021. Bucks in 6 over the Suns.
Ditto.
Bucks over Lakers in 7.
Okay.
That'd be the one we're waiting for, man.
Yeah. Any of the not Ken's, but any of these other ones, like I'm very happy with any of the outcomes. It don't really matter. Usually we would play who we play for, but Ken.
I gotta wait for my partner.
I'm kidding. But we'll do that at a later date.